If Santa Claus don't go sit his butt down somewhere, bro. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Now, we have a hearing tomorrow, Friday the 1st, about the cameras being in the courtroom for what I'm assuming is the remainder of the court hearings after tomorrow, if it gets granted. We're going to hopefully be aware of the judge's decision before the end of the day. Sometimes he gives his decision in the courtroom. Sometimes he says, I need a little bit more time to decide, and then documents get dropped later on. We shall see how tomorrow goes. But there are a few more documents that dropped yesterday evening, and we're going to go through these now. I do find it interesting that after the state came out and basically told the judge that they're the ones who sent the FBI to go talk to Gabriella Vargas, that now not only, has her declaration not been recanted, but now they're giving up their right to cross-examine her. So they did all of this, made it very well known to the public that they were the ones who sent the FBI to basically go and grill the hell out of Vargas over what her testimony was about the bullshit that the cops do when it comes to these genealogical websites and finding DNA matches and all the things. They're not making the statement get recanted, which means it's not false. And now they're refusing to cross-examine her, probably because you know that she's not going to be nice to you, because she knows now that you're the one who sent the FBI to her damn house. Yeah, it's probably in your best interest to not cross-examine her. But we're going to go ahead and get into the documents. I just know that that is the biggest point that's happening right now. I honestly don't care too much about the camera motions. I know that we had one that posted yesterday, and it was for them to be able to record audio, video, and take photographs of what's going on tomorrow. And then we have another one from KXLY for the exact same thing. So then here is our intent to not cross-examine. And of course, a lot of it is done under seal. Well, not a lot of it. The main reason for them to no longer want to cross-examine not only Gabriella Vargas, but also to not cross-examine Leah Larkin. And I feel like they just added Leah Larkin into this so that it doesn't look like they're trying to take the offensive or the defensive. I don't know football. So it's either one anyway, so that they don't look like they're basing this all on the situation with Gabriella Vargas. So I feel like they just added Larkin in here for that, because Leah Larkin is somebody that we've talked about being a part of the defense witnesses for like a long time. Her being in the courtroom that day was not the first time the state had heard about her. So it's not like she was a big shock and surprise. But they're like wham about her bringing in a PowerPoint presentation. And honestly, I feel like it's just for filler. I think this entire thing has to do with Vargas, and that's it. And I went through, there's not a lot. Like, there's really not. This is us not wanting to cross-examine her, and the reasoning why we're being big ol' babies about it is now under seal so that the public can't read exactly why. What they did give us is the transcript from a case that was cited in court. I believe it was last week. Yeah, on 8/18. And I've read through most of this. What I find interesting is that this is a case where a motion of limine was filed in order for the IGG information to not be included in discoverable evidence, which is exactly what is going on right now. And this is basically the transcript from the courtroom where the lawyers are arguing the reasoning, and they're claiming that it's not up to the state to determine what is discoverable and what is not. It's up to the court, and that's why they're filing the motion to give the court, basically the ball is in the court's court. They're the ones who get to decide whether to approve or deny the motion of limine in order to exclude or include the IGG information. So this entire thing is just that argument. Now, what's important, I think, is how this one ended up, because this is about an STR profile that was used for genealogical purposes in order to find a suspect in a crime. It's basically the exact same situation. And I think it finalizes right here in this paragraph. So this is what I'm going to read to you. Just to emphasize, the genealogist is doing the same sort of genealogy that you and I would do with an ancestry type profile. There is, of course, the added reality that law enforcement has access to, databases and things that a common citizen would not. But again, it is purely investigative. It's purely for a lead or a tip to give investigators a potential avenue to investigate the suspect again independently. And that is something that I have a problem with. I've made it very clear. A tip is something, in my opinion, that is given to law enforcement from an outside source. Okay? We're being told that Othram was given the information, told to stop and hand everything that they had over to the FBI because they were taking over. That is not an outside source. That is a law enforcement agency taking over a part of an investigation. And that is my biggest problem. And I know that there's a lot of people that argue, no, it's just a tip, it's just a lead. No, to me, in my common logical brain, if they have been told the FBI is taking over, give everything to them, that means they've been assigned to that part of the investigation. It is something that they did as part of this investigation. They didn't just randomly get a tip from somebody and then hand it over to the right department. They did the work up themselves, are refusing to show that work up, and then told them how to build their investigation, or shall I say, who to build their investigation on. This is just like them reverse engineering the entire situation. They're starting off with their person based off of this IGG information and building a case around that suspect, not getting all of the information and it just so happens to all point to the same person. They already had the person pointed at, and then they were told to build their case on that person. That's a problem for me. It really just is. It's a huge problem for me. And what it looks like as we go further down into this transcript is the defense is basically claiming the same thing that I claimed in my last video. If there's information that the state doesn't want disclosed to the public, then have them file it with a protective order. That's literally what this defense lawyer right here is stating. They state, Judge, I'm not sure that I understand the controversy that the state is bringing before the court. As long as the state turns over every document and tangible item in their possession or in state law enforcement's possession, then I believe that they've complied with discovery. If there is discoverable information out there that for some reason they want a protective order, then I'd ask that they file a motion for a protective order. And if it's reasonable, we would agree to not share it with outside parties as long as the defense has complete access to it. That's what I said. If the IGG information literally shows you scientifically what Brian Kohberger's DNA looks like, and that's what you used in order to build your case, then give it to the defense, let them do what they need to do with it, and file it under seal. They obviously know how. Okay, they're hiding their wah-wah BS about Vargas under seal. So the state obviously knows how to do that. What's the problem? What's the problem? That's my argument here. This right here is my entire argument. Now, the reason why the state wants this transcript in here is because in this IGG fight, the court sided with the state. They sided with the state. It says right here, I understand what you're arguing, Mr. Jorgensen. That's the state lawyer. and I'm going to enter an order that you are not obligated. The state is not obligated to disclose any genealogical database not in its possession. Meaning, just like in this case, the state has certain things, very small amounts of things that really don't add up to nothing, in my opinion. But the state does have certain things that they have already handed over, and the information about the IGG was not in the state's possession. Therefore, because the state doesn't already have it in their possession, the court is not going to make the state do anything in order to gain possession and then hand it over to the defense. It's just like what I've been saying in this case. Judge can say all he wants to, but in the end, they cannot make the FBI do anything. The FBI is going to do what the FBI wants to do because they're the FBI. And if they don't hand over this stuff willingly in the very beginning, don't count on them to be keeping it for later. We already know everything important was deleted. They've already told us that. So that's been my biggest issue, is that if there is anything that the defense is going to get, it's because the testing and everything is going to have to be redone. And this case happened just a couple weeks ago. So I don't know, is this kind of like a foresight, a foreshadowing into what's actually going to happen here? Because like I mentioned before too, a couple videos ago, I just want to scroll through here. What I mentioned a few videos ago is that the state has not filed the motion of limine yet to exclude the IGG. It's just been talk at this point. But I think that this transcript right here for this court case is given the state the courage. I'm going to just use that word because that's the only one I could think of at this point, to go ahead and get this ready to be filed, because they feel like it's going to be approved because they're seeing it here that it's approved. So that's going to suck if that's how this goes, guys. It's just true. The defense should be able to analyze literally everything that was used against their client, including this quote unquote tip that they're kind of trying to claim that FBI gave over, which I'm going to say again, if the FBI took over from Othram and Othram was authorized to stop what they were doing and send everything over, that's active investigative work on an active case being investigated. It's not a tip, in my opinion. Now, it does look as if the order was sort of half-assed denied, because it states right here, I am going to enter an order that you're not required to disclose any genealogical database not in your possession. But I'm not going to enter an order saying you're not required to disclose any information relating to the use of investigative genetic genealogy because the defense needs to. Must get copies of what you actually get, such as the report, even though I understand it's not your intentions to introduce it at trial. Still, the defense has every right to know how it was that things were narrowed down to him, because it may be that they can use that information to prepare a defense. So that's actually really interesting. This court actually sort of went in favor of both sides. But then the state here also argues the exact same argument that Santa Claus argues about how there are no other reports in their possession. And it appears that they wouldn't be able to get one even if they tried, which is basically, not basically, it is the exact same argument in this case right now. Well, clearly, under Rule 16, if he doesn't have the report, how is he going to disclose it? So it's not technically covered by the rule. It's fair to order at this time that the state need not go and try to obtain copies of those databases because that's not something in your possession. This is just claiming basically what we're going to hear here. I'm telling you, this is most likely exactly what's going to end up happening here. They're not going to be forced to attempt to try to get this information because they already know they can't. They already know that they can't. But I mean, this entire argument is the defendant wanting to know exactly what it was that pointed the finger at him. And it just so happens to be the exact same thing that pointed the finger over at Brian Kohberger, the IGG. It's really interesting how many cases are probably, like, if you think about it, how many cases are probably based around IGG that's like constantly fought to not be admissible in court? It's just kind of a scary thought, honestly. Now, the rest of these documents there's nothing spectacular. It's just them allowing the information to be placed under seal from the state for why they don't want to cross-examine the defense witnesses, and then the hearing information for the Zoom access, and then some motions from the media, which I could like give a crap less about. But that is it. Those are my thoughts on the new documents. It's interesting. I'll say again, it's interesting. The argument in this case that they're citing is so similar. It does kind of give you an idea about how this could go. And it doesn't really look like too much of a win. Because like we just saw in this case, the state is claiming the same thing. They've handed over everything that they do have in their possession, and there's no way that they could possibly obtain possession of anything else that the defense is asking for, because it wasn't done by them. It was done by someone else. Wow. Yeah. So before we end this video, it is time to announce the 2 gift card winners. Now, the member that won the $50 gift card for the members only drawing is No Chains. I absolutely adore No Chains. I love whenever she's on Dago's panel. Love her, love her, love her. Been talking to her for quite a while here on the YouTubes. And now I'm going to play you the video that shows the comment winner. All you had to do was comment on this video right here to be entered to win. And then take the URL, place it in a random comment picker generator thingy-mabobber, and that's what picks the winner. I'm going to play that now. So congratulations to No Chains and our comment winner, Janner. Now, you guys, my email address is in every description box for every video I have ever posted. It is in the pinned comment for every video I have ever posted, and it is on my About page. Please, please, please email me so we can discuss how you want your $50 gift card, because we can also do PayPal or Cash App. And please be mindful that you're going to have to show me the back end of your YouTube account so that I can verify that you are who you are supposed to be. So I very much appreciate you guys for being here. Congratulations again to the winners. And let's just see what kind of information and little tidbits might actually be dropped in this hearing tomorrow when it comes to the cameras. I'm anxious to see how this one goes. But until then, see y'all.